In this DIY, we are going to be making this creator-inspired scarecrow. And he is decked out with jack-o'-lantern bells, peg legs, and just a little bonus, he has screws for his joints at his hips. You would definitely need a tin can and a styrofoam ball for the head. Use your tin can from supper to repurpose to make this handsome scarecrow fitted with his crow atop his hat. It's simple, very fun. The supplies you probably already have on hand, or you can scrounge up. Let's get started. Join me and let's make this scarecrow. Welcome to Dandy DIY. On this DIY, we are going to be using tin cans. You'll also need a styrofoam ball around 2.5 inches to 3 inches, another chunk of styrofoam to go inside the can. You'll also need a wooden skew or stick, and we're going to be using the Gilder's paste wax here. I have the rust and I have the black. This is a method to color up your metal, still be able to tell that it is metal, and instantly get rusting effects. So let's get started. You are absolutely going to love tin can for your fall decor. In starting out this DIY, we're going to start with our tin can, and we're going to use the Gilder's paste wax to get this black and rusted looking. Now I have an additional tin can here, and I found that I really liked how this worked out. This one is a lot of fun, and basically I will insert this smaller can into the larger can with the styrofoam, and then when I put the head on, the skew will go inside. If you want to have a secondary tin can that fits inside, this is another way. Now, you do not have to have this. You can actually just use your styrofoam, and then you can plug this up with some cardboard or something to keep it held inside. And we'll be putting legs on for this fall DIY. So let's get started, and I'll show you how to use these paste wax. Now, I'm going to take the black, and I'm going to put it sparingly on this tin can. It doesn't have to cover the whole thing. You'll just put it in certain areas to give it that look. Now, another thing is you can actually paint your tin can. You could do black on your tin can and get the same thing. But the reason why I like using the paste is you can see, you can still tell that this is a tin can. And it doesn't pretty much cover it. It's just the idea that if this can were sitting out and aged on its own, so that's really what we're doing. And on this particular one, I'm going to put more of the rusting effect on it. And this right here is the back seam of my can. I'm just going about and putting the black on here. Now, I am putting black until I'm satisfied, and I'm pretty satisfied with that. That's not a whole lot of black on there, and it's just enough. The great thing about the Gilder's paste wax is they dry really quick. In about 10 minutes, they'll be completely dried, and within 24 hours, it'll be what they call permanently cured. These are water and soap cleanup, real easily clean up, so you don't have to act immediately, but you do want to make sure that you cleanse that with soap and water. And I'm going to move on and use the rust. Now with the rust, I really wanted that strong orange color, and so basically use you a clean dabber. If you do this on top of that black, it will mud it and make it look a lot brighter yellow. It won't be as deep orange as it is right now. So that's real important that just use you a clean applicator. You can do this with a brush. You can use your straight fingers and put it on there a lot of times. And it actually tells you out on instructions. These paste wax, they are really great. They've been around many, many years, and they are the original. If you're looking for a wax that's reasonably priced and has multitude of colors and works on everything, this works on metal, wood, fabric, glass, ceramics, clay, and this is the wax to go for. And it does dry permanently once it dries. You can use these. They last a very long time, and they're coming these adorable little screw-on lid tins, which we as DIYers can always use a tin for something. Store something in or turn it into a DIY. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and finish rusting up my tin. I'll be back. So I've finished up my tin can, and see, I'm already touching it. And it dries up really, really fast. But while there are still some of the thicker places drying for this instant rust, that's what I love about it. That is instant rust. It took me less than 3 minutes to do this can. And it is completely finished. I've done the black, I've done the rust. It's just awesome and painless, no mess, and it's a done deal. So I wanted to show you how you can do bells and rust them instantly. So we have a silver one and we have a large gold one here. And as you could see on the can, it only takes a moment. So if you had your bells there and you're trying to get a project done and you don't want to do the hydroxide with the salt and the vinegar, this is you an instant rust. And you can deepen that if you want to. You could actually let that dry if that wasn't dark enough for you and go back over it so you can build it up. Now that's on the silver. And on the gold, it's just as gorgeous. As you can see, you get this great, wonderful orange color. And the great thing with these waxes, these paste wax, you can mix them and create your own desired color. They blend well with each other. If you were combining these, I've used these on metal, ceramic, and I have not done fabric. And I think I've done a few, maybe some wood, but the results, as you can see, is just awesome every time. And like I said, you could let that sit. Once it dries, you could hit it again with more of the rust and deepen that color. Make it just as rusty as you want. Do different places. And you can also get this wax in the brown rust, and you could do the brown rust on there, and that would look really fantastic. It would look like the ones you buy. So there you go. You got your rust going, and some places are deeper than the others. And as I said, you could even do this with your hands. I just happen to have this pouncing brush that does real good, and I'll just let that dry, which you can see I'm handling it, and it does pretty good. Tin can turned out fantastic. Looks great. And just a FYI, I've got a piece of styrofoam here. I'm going to place it down into my tin can, and I will wait until later if I even need to glue that. I may not need to glue it, but I'm going to put my seam here in the back. Now I have another can that fits inside of this one. I've also pierced a hole in the center of it with a screwdriver, and as you see, that will fit right in there, just like a sleeve. And I have the top side with a hole and the bottom side with a hole. You'll need a skew, a wooden skew. This will work good. This one about the halfway mark, and I'm going to be using that half. And then you'll need like a 2.5 inch, even a 3-inch styrofoam ball, and at least a 8 by 10 inch piece of square. I've already dyed this one, and I just tea-dyed it, and I'm just going to take and put this up around my ball to make my scarecrow. And I'm just bringing it up on the sides, and I can glue it per se and make sure that I get this good and snug, because I'm going to put the dowel into the center of it, and I want to put a little glue on the sides. Just be careful, because you know it gets hot and it is styrofoam, and just try to center that as best I can with your square, because we want these hanging down. We don't want them stuck to the ball. We just want enough glue there to hold to our fabric. And then I'll do these corners, and that little bit of gathering that it does is excellent, because it gives it that real scarecrow kind of look. Okay, so that's holding that ball pretty good. Now I'm gathering it up, just gathering on my corners, then my folds, and bring them down. And I want them to stay closed up, so what I may do is just put enough glue on the fabric so that when I bring these corners about, they stay fastened. Now I'm going to run the point of the skew into the ball versus the opposite thereof, because I want to make sure it stays in there. I'm going to put just some glue on the actual skew so that once I put it in there, it stays. G-twine tied onto there. I just pull this out a little bit. You can trim this off if you like. I kind of like to leave it down. I don't like to cut it off because I just think it gives that great look. And I'm probably going to use this as the front for my Scarecrow's face. You know what happens here? This just goes down into our can. And it won't come out the other side. That's the thing. It's try to get it centered. We'll probably put a collar or something around him. Looking pretty good so far. Now, let's fix him. For his nose up here, don't need much fabric. I'm going to take this strip right here and my coffee grunge, and I'm going to darken that up a little bit. So now I've got that coffee stain, and I am going to cut him a piece for his nose. That's looking pretty sharp right there for his nose. Let's get this on here. Don't need that much, but that looks good. Now we need his eyes. Now I have some of the googly eyes, and I actually like cut these open and get the eye out. In case you haven't ever done that, I just literally like cut down the side there, and you can take and just pour it out just like that. Put the other one right. That's looking pretty snazzy. Almost looks like a duck. I also got the rusty wire bundle. There is a 22 gauge, a 20 gauge, and you also get the barbed wire, which is a 16 gauge, and it just looks like barbed wire. It's been rusted already, and I'll be sure to put you a link down below. So I think I'm going to go with the 20 gauge, which is a little bit thicker, but you only need the smallest amount on this to make his smile. And it's probably only going to take what's wrapped around this wire to keep it bundled. And I'm going to judge based on the length of him and doubling it up and curling it. So probably right about here. And the inspiration piece, she used rusty wire for his smile. And I just love that. It looked so adorable. I mean, he looks absolutely, genuinely adorable. And I'm going to leave my sides straight so I can actually stick them through the fabric into the styrofoam and they'll stay. So all the ends, I'm going to keep them pointed straight. I'm going to go below that point and allow at least a ½ inch or so. And then I'm just going to wrap my wire. And I do mine kind of wide, and then that way I can push it if I need to close it up more. It don't take but a second. I'm actually using my Halloween pencil. I just noticed that. So here I've got it all curled up. I got both those points going that way, and I'm just going to bring it around and make him look so cheerful. Look at that. How adorable is that? He is so cute. So I'm just going to put that right there. Remember, the width of the eyes is the smile. That's how I do it. And then you can put that right through that styrofoam. Same thing over here. And look at that, our Scarecrow has an adorable little smile. I've got my blush, just the right color. And yes, it's my CoverGirl. It's the good stuff. I like using the good stuff. If you find cheap stuff that's the right color, get it. Otherwise, you're going to have to use the good stuff like me. How fashionable is that? He looks so smashingly good. I love it. Alright, let's work on his hat with some burlap. I have this wonderful looking fray down here. This burlap piece is 10.5 inches long, and it's right at 5 inches wide if you consider the fray. Now, the easiest way to do this is bring your two pieces together, and when you bring these crisscrossed over like that, you're going to kind of size it up. When you look at your Scarecrow, you got to consider that this part you're going to be flipping up per se. So when you touch down on this, kind of do like a per se 2-inch square, if that makes sense. And you want to put just a bead of glue. You don't want to go down like you're going to really truly glue it. You just want to put it in a streak there so that it's almost diagonal in that 2-inch square there. And then that little line, once it dries, this is going to give our opening, and it will give us our little roundabout out here. Put that up there so you can see. I also take and I put just a little bit of Elmer's glue on here to keep this from fraying back any more than that, and it will dry clear. I actually kind of overdid it right there, but just I do a smidge. If you've got a brush, you can do it with a brush and it works even better. And just put it across there and that will lock those fibers in. It works just like our no fray for fabrics. And that's really all you're doing is just putting a little bit on there just to keep it from fraying anymore. And it doesn't take it long to dry. Just like with all Elmer's school glue, just rub it out. All right, so in looking at your hat, and now that you've got that part done and you've got your fray stop going on, you can start shaping up your hat. And I know that I want mine like that so that I can flip these sides up. So what I'm going to do is one of the cords that come out of the burlap is 10 inches long or so. And I have my pins here. These are tapestry pins. They have a big head. It's real easy to thread. And I already know that by kind of posing this and sizing it up, that right in here, I'm just going to really, truly just let the roll stay where it's at. And I'm just going to string that cord through there. And make sure you're just catching the back here. You don't want to catch your front. Just catch your back there. Pull that through. And then again, over here, just letting that cord come through so that I've got this tail out here in front. Now I can kind of have some control over keeping that pulled up because we're going to be putting some raffia in the top. But that helps me to draw up my hat a little bit. And now I can get it situated. And that way, if you want to tie it on the outside, you can. But I don't think it's going to stay fixed. That's why I am taking this cord and running it through there. And I can pull it up a little bit just to kind of keep it taut there. Because I want that stovepipe top coming out. And I can just put a regular bow in it. That way if I need to tie it or pull it loose, I can. Okay, that'll take care of that. So now I can get his hat situated. And I know that's about where I want it. So I want to put some raffia under there before I stop because this is going to flip up. Alright, so let's get some raffia. Alright, I have me a good amount here. And I'm just judging based on what I got here. Okay, this looks pretty good. I just wind a piece around this. Or I tie it. And these little strings work real good. They'll keep it in a bundle spread out until I get him glued. And you can always take and wet your raffia. You can heat it. You can use a flat iron. There are different ways that you can go to get it styled and keep it from a little being less rolly on you. That looks about right. Put that in the center of his head. And cut those once I get this glue to set. Okay, let's put his hat on there and just kind of eyeball the center of it. Kind of get it right there. Make sure it's coming down pretty far in the back. Pull it down. Okay, and I'm just going to hold it right there until I get it glued. And I'm going to put some glue right there on the patch of that per se straw. And then I'm going to put some back here in the rear. So far, he's looking pretty snazzy. And once that glue dries a little bit, be able to work with his hat some more. Okay, now I can flip his hat up. And I just want the sides flipped up. I don't want the back. Look how cute. Isn't he adorable? Leaving his hat down in the back. And you can glue that in that area if you wanted to. Like if you really wanted to keep that flipped up. Unless he's being disturbed, his hat should stay flipped up. And you can always put a spot of glue right there in the front. And that might help keep his brim flipped back. Let me try and see if that will give it a little more control. Ain't he looking so cute? I love it. Okay, now we can clip his raffia here, his straw. You need to put some out the top. Then this can be trimmed if you desire. Depends on, how you style it. So you might need to trim some of that off. Really just depends on what your personal preference is. And that's keeping that brim popped up. It doesn't keep it from coming down though. So even if it did come down a little bit, you can always flip it back. If you do want to glue it, you do have that option. Alright, I'm measuring how much of a bend needs to be in that to get it to come out top. Now it's time to stick this down in the top, put a little glue to it. How that's looking. Oh, isn't that darling? That is just darling. I love it. Might have to trim it a bit, but it looks fabulous. I love it. Now I got these crows right here from off of Amazon. I'll be sure to leave you a link down below. I'm going to use one of these with the Scarecrow. As you can see, they are packaged very, very nice. I bought a lot, so if you wish to purchase versus making, you can also check the website. I'll put the link below and right here on the screen. And you can go over and purchase some already painted and made up. Now he's looking even more handsome, and we've got to put some fabric on him. So I have my roll of fabric homespun, and I think this navy blue plaid is going to work really, really great on him. I want to make sure I don't get his straw caught in it. I'm just going to tie that on him, see what I need to adjust. I think that's going to look pretty good. We'll leave that for the time being. You don't want it tight. If anything, it could be, the fabric could be actually wider and bring it more so out around here. Might need to give him a collar of some kind. Now I have some sunflowers, and I'm trying to decide which one I want to use. I painted up the crow, and I've got cinnamon on it, and I want to put it on his hat. I might put it on this side, kind of liking it on this side of his cap, so I can glue that into place. Now on this sunflower, I'm going to put it like right here on his brim, because I think it'll overpower anywhere else. I'm going to take my distressing ink and kind of darken it up a bit so it doesn't look too bright. We want it to still match him, but not too bright. We definitely want this to look primitive and worn. The Tim Holtz vintage photo, and I'll put a link down below so you can find it if you're looking for it. I get these on Amazon most of the time, or Hobby Lobby. I'm going to put it right there on that outer edge. I'm going to put the glue down here where it's going to touch on that brim. Very, very suiting. I want that there. Kind of look like a flower's popping out of his hat. I have these rusty bells. These are the jack-o'-lanterns. I got these from Temu. I'll put you a link in the description box down below where you can easily find them. And I'm going to tie these on. Once again, going by the inspiration piece. It's looking so gorgeous. Our Scarecrow is really coming together with that rustic look. Now one thing I want to do that's gone by the inspiration piece is I want to put some burlap around his neck and then tie the homespun on there. So I went back and looked on the photograph, and I think that a strip about 2 inches wide is going to be sufficient for that. Again, I'm just putting my glue through there, my Elmer's glue, and I'll put that on both sides, because if someone purchases this, I do not want their burlap strings coming out and them having to deal with that mess. That way, as the Scarecrow is stored over the years, it will hold up for years, and we won't have to worry about any of the cord coming out. If you prefer to purchase versus make, follow the link. Put the website on the screen here, and you'll find the link down below. I'm going to heat that with my hot air gun, and that will take care of any frays. My needle again, tapestry needle, and that way I can thread it up real quick and run it through there in a jiffy without much work involved. Alright, I've got that strung through there again now that my glue is dry, and I'm just going to tie it and then I can adjust it. That looks so much better. Look at there. Brand new. And the little pieces like these, I actually glued it onto the can and just flipped that back down because it doesn't have to spin around. But just so you know, that might be something you can do if you have that little bit of fabric hanging down from your ball. Just go ahead and glue it to the can, and that'll help keep the head from spinning. Now, he just looks so cute. Let's put his jack-o'-lantern bells on, and I tied a knot on one end, but on the other end I just plain tied it so that I can go back and adjust it and take that string up if I need to. It might be difficult for you to see, but pretty much I'll hold them where they're going to hit. And I got him, so now I'm going to put his homespun back on. And FYI, I put a drop of Elmer's glue on my knot just to make sure that over a period of time, that way your knot doesn't come undone. Sometimes they slide because they're hanging and dangling, and that just makes sure that they don't come loose. Okay, so I'm making no crows, and when you do your tags, don't flip them this way. Flip them this way, like roll them over. And then that way, if it's swinging or whichever, when you tie it on, either way, it's going to look upright. But when you have it hanging and it's spinning around in the wind, no matter which way it goes, you're going to see it upright. And even if you hang it this way, you're going to see that it's continuous. Just a little tip on when you stamp your words, just roll your tag over. So we have our Scarecrow finished, and he looks absolutely dashing. He is wonderfully built with his peg legs, and as you can see, the screw is adhering them along with the glue. I have him standing here so that he can dry and finish curing out the glue for his peg legs, and with his details of his crow and his sunflower. He's absolutely charming with his bent wire smile and his bright blackened eyes. He has his no crow sign along with his jack-o'-lantern bells, and he is absolutely gorgeous. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more of the like, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. A like lets me and YouTube know that you enjoyed the video. They'll serve you more of a like. Join the DIY team, and also check me out over on Facebook at Dandysoap DIY. I'll put the link in the description box down below. And if you would rather purchase versus making, be sure to check out DandyLionSoap.com/shop. I'll put the link in the description box down below. Until the next DIY, this is Elizabeth, and I'll be crafting, y'all.